Oh, hey. This again. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Get Your Paint On. My name is Jordan Lamb, studio painter here at Privateer Press. I'm joined here in the booth today.
I'm going to interrupt Jordan right now, and I would just like to point out I gave him a very clear 5, 4, 3, and then a la Wayne's World, the silent 2, 1, and he totally missed it because he was looking at the camera, not the screen.
Oh.
All right.
The best part of today's intro is that off camera before this started, Tony was like, "Are you ready, Jordan?" And Jordan's like, "Aren't I always ready?" And Tony was like, "No."
All right, roll it back. Let's try it again.
All right. So, hi, Jordan. Welcome to Get Your Paint On this Thursday. I'm joined by Will Hungerford and Tony Konachek here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone.
A couple announcements for y'all. Starting off with stream schedule. Tomorrow we've got a 4-player Riot Quest game for you.
Riot Quest.
Mompoc doesn't do that. Riot Quest does, however. So join us for that. It's gonna be a blast. I think we've got Tony. Remind me if I'm wrong.
We got Hungerford,
me,
Jeff Hanley, Faye, and Lauren will all be playing in a 4-way featuring some of the Wave 1 characters that we showed off on Wednesday.
Y'all are painting them for me. I don't have them painted, so you're going to give me models, and then I'm going to crush these noobs.
No. Too bad Tony's not there to crush you.
Actually, it's Riot Quest, and it's really hard to do that.
Sure.
You could be like the best Riot Quest player in the world, and then show up and be like, "Well, I got rolled."
All right. Next, we got the Hobby and Terrain blog. This is our Privateer Press terrain blog that Danny updates frequently with his terrain extravaganza. I don't know if he's updated anything today or yesterday, but he definitely updates it frequently. It looks like he updated it with his completed display, which is kind of cool. So check that out. We've got mini crates for you, all 3 of them. We got Shield Sister of the Order of the Wall, and it's August 19th, VIP subscription, Brother of Arcadius. You guys have heard me talk about this every week. We got L5R, Doji Hitaru, September 5th, VIP subscription, Shosuro Sadako, and the Savage Mini Crate, which is a little different. Instead of Dark Agnes, the first Mini Crate subscription model has changed to Solomon Kane. VIP model has not changed from King Conan. It will remain the same. But go ahead and go to minicrate.com/savage to sign up for that and get your models.
And if you missed it last week, Jordan was painting up that King Conan model on the stream. So you can always go to Twitch or to our YouTube channel, Privateer Press Prime, to check that out.
Last thing real quick, you guys. We've got Mompoc My Store, August 15th. Today is the last day to enter. Take photos of you guys playing Mompoc at your local game store and submit them to Facebook. I will enter you in a post, or it will enter you in a or what have you contest. Thank you. To be randomly selected to have your store be made into the new organized play model, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's going to show up in a Crush Hour kit.
Yep. So you can find more information at privateerpress.com/news for that. And we're going to move on to today's model, which is...
I'm looking forward to the hashtag riot at your store where, we decided not to do that one. Where you go start a riot and just grab as much loot as you can and you run away and you post photos of it. We deliver those to the police, claim the bounty on you. There's no prizes.
But everything does work out in the end.
We get paid.
Mm-hmm. Let's all ignore everything that Hungerford just said.
Hello to everyone in Twitch and Facebook. Hey, Stryker. Hey, Travis. Hey, Riker. Hey, Gecko in a suit. Hey, Chase.
Hey, Alec.
Hey, man, just hey, everybody. Donald.
Donald, yeah.
What do you paint today, bro?
Well, I painted Widget from Riot Quest. Which one of the Wave 1 model?
Which parts of Widget are you going to focus on today? Because I know
the whole darn thing.
You're gonna heck and paint.
Are you gonna speed paint the whole thing today?
No, probably not. Specifically. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you going to do the pants with the stripes on them?
I am actually going to do the pants with stripes on them.
That is going to be super useful because I know that that was the thing we were talking about on Dev Chat yesterday was Stripey Pants.
Stripey Pants. I know it's something that can be a little difficult to do, so I'll kind of walk through my process on how I do this. I'm just mixing up some skin tone here real quick. Cause,
I think that was also just Oz wanting to avoid anything challenging as far as painting goes.
I mean, that is the thing that Oz does.
So while Jordan's mixing up paints, we talked about Widget. People were asking what her storyline is.
Right.
Because we're in the Riot Quest timeline, Saturday morning cartoon apocalypse, alternate timeline, right?
Right.
And I said that Widget is definitely one of the good guy characters. If this was a cartoon, Widget's in the intro. She's happy-go-lucky. You know, her whole thing is she's like a teenage girl. She's surviving the apocalypse due to her own sort of natural skill and talent at being sort of an engineer, at being a tinkerer. And she flies around. The first thing she built was her wings, so she could, you know, fly in and out and not get crumped by, you know, the Captain Crawtooths and Butchers of the world. And she goes in, gets what she needs, and flies away, helps people fix things. She's just like an overall, just a good person.
Do you see her as being like one of the characters that is just eternally positive? Like, you know, she might be grumpy, have a bad day, you know, storyline might revolve around a difficulty she's having, but there's no badness in her heart.
She is teenage flying man-at-arms to me.
Okay.
Like teenage girl flying man-at-arms. Man-at-arms, A, had a fantastic mustache, and B, was always like kind of in a good mood, right? He always was trying to fix things.
Yeah.
He may not have been He-Man, but he definitely wasn't Orko.
That mustache.
Right? Like he was just a solid all around. And he'd be like, "Hey, Tila, check out this new flanger dogger I made." And she's like, "Dad!" And then he's like, "Look, it blows things up, but it never kills Skeletor."
So like Widget is like a Man-at-Arms Tila combo.
Well, Tila was a little bit more like warrior princess thing, and I don't
sure.
think Widget's got that going on. I think she's more strictly flying teenage mustacheless man-at-arms.
So you guys can all probably guess the things that I know nothing about by how silent I am during some of these conversations.
Sorry, Jordan.
You're fine.
You get your act together and watch the Masters of the Universe.
I'll pass. Thanks.
What?
I'll pass.
What?
Hard pass. Soft pass.
Masters of the Universe
That's
is
not where I
amazing.
should
The
put this.
comics put out by DC afterwards they're great. All of it's great. Go back and watch the shows. Got She-Ra on Netflix right now. You got the Master Reboot remake in like what, 2000s? The original cartoon.
I didn't even know they rebooted it.
Hell yeah, they did.
All right.
All right. So back to the painting. Excuse me. I'm gonna start on these pants. So usually when I do the striped pants, and Tony can pull up a photo of the concept art so y'all can see what it's supposed to look like.
Well, he really put you on the spot there.
So they're two-tone, like yellow and like kind of denim-ish color. And I'm going to start with the lighter color. I'm going to base coat the whole thing, and then I'm going to draw the lines in with the bluish gray after.
All right.
And why in that order?
So it takes a lot more to base coat a lighter color over a darker color. So I will start with the lighter color first, and then I draw in the lines to create the alternate blue color with the darker color, which is this gray blue. It also base coats better, so you don't have to do as many coats over it. So you can get a really nice solid coat of your lighter color, which takes a lot more base coating, and you can be a little bit less finicky about that. And then you can go over it with the darker color, which will base coat a lot better.
Let's bring those colors up on the screen. What is the lighter color you're using and the darker color you're using?
So I'm going with a slightly different color. This is more of like an orange. So this is ember orange and rucksack tan. Just add a little bit of like brownish color in there.
Okay, so then those, which is 50-50 mix?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what is the darker color you will be going over?
I'm going to be using Gravedigger denim for that.
Okay.
It is a perfect color for that specific gray-green denim color. Or gray-blue, excuse me, not gray-green.
Rick Irvine says, I absolutely love Widget's action pose. Yeah, I thought so cool. And it's nice
I
that
really like
as a
this pose.
flying character, she's actually in the air.
Yeah. When I look at her, what I like to think of is if this was the 80s and I went into Toys R Us and I grabbed my Widget action figure because I've been watching Riot Quest on Saturday mornings, what her action would be. You know, because they always had like Kung Fu grip action and stuff like that.
Sure.
And like, you know, especially the He-Man toys had
Yeah.
like Stinkor. He really smells bad. He really did, by the way. He smelled terrible. So I imagine what she probably does is either the wings flap, or you can hold the wrench in both hands and probably press her legs together, and you have that sort of like up down wrenching motion where she's bopping people.
Yeah, squeezing the legs. Maybe there's a lever on her back, like a little push
flick
button.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't go very far. It would just kind of.
Do you remember the one
just move like an inch?
The ones that were basically like little grinder wheels. They were like a little flint and steel. You would click them and sparks would come out the front of the model.
Yes.
Man, the 80s toys were awesome.
So, on that note,
Yep.
I'm disappointed as an adult because when I was a kid, or when we were kids, I had all the G.I. Joes, and they just had all of their gear and stuff and Transformers. And then right about the time that I was like, I still liked toys, but I wasn't getting them as much. Like when I was in my late teens and things, I wasn't playing with them as much, is when they started coming with the spring-loaded missiles. Like you could actually start shooting all of the stuff out all the time.
So I decided I'm actually going to go up to yellow, you guys. So I mixed up a little bit of this Cygnus yellow into the previous mix.
Oh.
So I'm going to go with that yellow. Build it up here just a little bit. And to keep things quick, I'm just painting pretty quickly, not worrying super much about the surrounding areas.
Because you're just getting your base down, right?
Yeah, I'm just getting the base coat down, and I can clean everything else up around this once the pants are done. I always tend to do the pants first because it allows me to focus on the pants and not worry about the surrounding bits and bobs, which I can always go back in and base coat in over later, which lets me work more on my freehand and keep it nice and clean.
Cool. And this is going to be a useful one for people because a lot of people at Gen Con got the pre-releases of Riot Quest Starter and then all of Wave 1, which is 6 additional heroes past the 5 that come in Starter. But through September is, so next week is the core set. And then through September is when the rest of Wave 1 comes. So people will be getting their hands on Widget at their local stores very soon. And I'm sure the trickiest part for most people, if they decide to do it, is going to be exactly what you're doing, painting the stripy pants.
Yup. I'm also going to do a little bit of highlights as well. I tend to do all these highlights in one go with this base color, and then I'll highlight the individual lines that I do afterwards. So I'm going to get in here.
Riker Zion says that Widget is his favorite model in Wave 1. His starter favorite is Gubbin, though. And we're hearing a lot of love for Gubbin. Both model and gameplay.
That was the first model that I painted for Riot Quest.
Was Gubbin, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's the one who I did all the test painting on to see what style we wanted to go with.
What so when you're painting up, so Riot Quest has a much more cartoon feel than our other games that have miniatures. So when you're coming up with a style for painting a miniature, how do you approach that differently for something like Riot Quest versus War Machine?
Yeah, so War Machines tends to have this like really, realistic and kind of dingy, grungy, not grungy, but like dirty vibe to it. And while it takes place in a similar universe, we want to keep that tone sort of similar. We decided to go and kind of I helped decide to go with more exaggerated colors, more so like kind of cartoony-esque, but still keeping that same kind of dirty, grungy vibe that we had before on the Iron Kingdoms models, because they are still from the Iron Kingdoms, just in the future. So, yeah, really, really bright, vibrant colors, more so than we would normally use. Slightly more stylized paint styles were used. So, like more reflective armor on the painted armor than the like natural, more kind of muted, flat look that we typically go for. A good example of this is Sir Dreyfus from the starter set. Is a lot more poppy than you would see on like a normal Stormguard infantry or Signar Jack, right? So, yeah.
So a couple things from the chat. Some people are saying they see a lot of Borderlands. They got a Borderlands feel from Riot Quest, which I think makes sense. It's got that cell shaded look, that very
Yeah.
cartoony look.
I think a lot of the character in the sculpts is very much Borderlands esque.
So Alec M. Luda on Facebook says, I am trying to think about what body I'm going to put on the base for her to be knocking out because you don't kill in 80s Saturday morning cartoons. And so to speak to that, in Riot Quest in the game, you never kill anyone. You only ever knock them out. That's actually the game turns knock them out. They end up in the cooler, they rest, and then there's a random chance they wake back up and can come out and fight. Because again, this is very much the next Saturday, new episode, same characters. You know, Skeletor never dies. You know,
He just comes back next
He just comes back next time. So the idea of her bonking somebody on the base and putting another character laying down the base would be really cool. Just don't have their head caved in with blood everywhere.
I mean, you can have their head caved in with blood everywhere. They just come back next episode.
No, it's not that kind of cartoon.
Not that kind of cartoon.
This isn't Attack on Titan, bruh. Like, this is...
That is.
You can
total
knock a helmet
opposite.
off, or you can eject out of an airplane with a parachute.
This is TMNT. Like...
So some of these highlights, by the way, that I've been using on this are Cygnus Yellow that we have on there, but I've been mixing in a little bit of Menoth White highlight, and the big highlights are mostly just Menoth White highlight.
So while you're getting that down, Jordan, since we're talking about the feel of Riot Quest, and, you know, the cartoons we grew up, I know that you just turned 18.
Yeah.
So what was
I
your
didn't just turn
favorite
18, by the way,
cartoon that you watched on iPad when you were going on road trips growing up? And then me and Tony will determine which Saturday morning cartoon we enjoyed.
What were you watching in a moving vehicle in the 80s and early 90s?
Tell me what movie were you enjoying on your phone when you were 5?
So there's two cartoons that I watched a bunch as a kid.
Okay. I'm ready.
Like religiously watched.
Yep.
And then there was the ones that you always saw, which is like Dexter and stuff like that.
Powerpuff Girls, Dexter, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
because that was the era that I
Yeah, you grew up in that era. Okay.
But like the cartoons that I watched regularly were it was Batman Beyond.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And Yu-Gi-Oh, because I was a fucking nerd. Oh, excuse me.
We got another one.
Sneaking through.
Good talk, bro. It's been a while since we had a bomb.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Keep painting, Jordan.
I'm gonna keep on painting. I'm gonna stop talking right now. But yeah, those two. I was big in card games as a kid. Still. Well, I guess less so now. But
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, and see if you can do that dropping an F-bomb.
Good. Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
He-Man.
Yep.
G.I. Joe.
Yep.
TMNT.
Yep.
Those are my big ones. Just about in that order, although I think by the time TMNT came around, that kind of surpassed the others.
So when I'm talking little.
Yeah.
So when I was like teenager or young teen, it was definitely Batman Animated Adventures because I was like 10 when that came out, or maybe a little bit younger.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna pause this real quick because this requires a little bit of talking.
go
about.
for it. Go for it. Yeah, please tell us to shut up because we're talking about cartoons.
I'm telling you to stop talking right now. Okay, so I'm gonna start working on these lines here. So there's a couple of like thought processes that I go through when trying to do this, and you want to follow the contour of the leg and imagine how the folds in the cloth are going to change the straight lines. And I'll usually start with one and get that line correct before I move on to other ones. Because the other ones tend to not be quite as difficult. So starting up here. I also tend to not have so I offset the darker lines on the sides of the highlights on the bright color. So you see how this highlight here is on this leg right here. I'm going to leave that as the yellow stripe, and then I'm going to do the dark stripe right next to it.
Cool. Do you draw guides and then fill in?
Kind of. I kind of just like do the line a little bit at a time.
Okay.
And then I feel like guides just end up taking too long and they tend to like help make you make mistakes more often than not.
So you just do it.
So I just kind of do it. Yeah.
Okay. So while you were doing that, Jejo, He-Man,
Yeah.
TMNT,
Yep.
and then I grew up in the Bayou, right? And so I had a rich person I knew, and they were rich because they had HBO,
Okay.
and that was a thing,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Like in '85,
Yeah.
And I know it's not a cartoon, man, but when I would go hang out at their house and have sleepovers, and Fraggle Rock came on, bro.
I'm biting my knuckle right now because Fraggle Rock was it because you didn't get to see it all the time. You could
No.
only watch it like when
No.
we were in like we'd be traveling on vacation in a motel that would have HBO, and so
Yeah.
you'd be able to watch Fraggle Rock. Or Grandma had HBO, so Grandma's house you could watch Fraggle Rock, but that was not an everyday thing.
It's just they're flipping through the channels. They're actually on the CRT, turning the physical dial to go through the channels, and all of a sudden, like they're like click, 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 and you're just like boom, 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 da da dum, 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 bum, 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 ba-da.
Oh my
Bum, bum,
goodness.
bum, ba-da. And you'd be like, stop.
AJ Masters, Fraggle Rock was on regular TV up here in Canada. Don't you need to stop showing off, please?
Yeah.
I don't appreciate it.
So you guys can kind of see how this is coming along.
You have a steady
Let's start.
hand.
That's practice, man. This just takes forever. The more you do it, the steadier your hand becomes.
I mean, and the older you get, the less steady your hand becomes. So you have a real limited window.
Oh, thanks for that.
Well, I mean,
exciting.
as we get old, we do just get worse at what we do. That's why I cheated the system and became a game designer. I'll be good until my brain gives out, which is basically now.
So, because her leg is bent forward, I put this bend in the line here to follow that shape of the leg. I'm going to go back over that just a bit to
And
darken it up a little bit.
and you said you were going to highlight each of these stripes.
Man, that
Yeah,
is some
which I'll
next
do here
level
in a
stuff
second.
right there.
Got to do this other side of this leg.
Is this your model or the studio model you're painting?
This is mine. The studio model's already been shown off at Gen Con.
So this is one of those details like take a little extra time, little extra effort, brings a lot of character to the model.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't even really take that long either. I guess we've been doing this for like 20 minutes, but
Well, there's all been a lot of other stuff going
yeah,
on.
like 15, 20 minutes or so. And like, this leg is almost done. Like, I gotta just paint this another line that kind of goes up in here and then down and then highlight them, and then this leg is done. And this leg shouldn't be quite as hard because it's not at a weird angle.
Yeah. And I mean, like, don't stress out over it, right? I'd say just, like, dance your cares
Yeah,
away.
and the other thing is like,
Worries for another day. You know, maybe, like, let the music play. Down at Fraggle Rock. Sorry.
and it doesn't have to be perfect either. Like, as long as your kind of big exposed areas, like the top of the knee, right, is a really good example of this. Like, as long as these lines on the knee are really tight where the highlights are, then it'll read really well as successful like line pinstriping on pants. The underside stuff, as long as it exists and you can see it, then you don't have to worry quite as much about it being perfect. Because like nobody's gonna look underneath the model to make sure that this is exactly straight, right? But as long as they see it there, they can kind of get in their brain the idea.
Unless you're entering it in a competition, right? You don't need to worry about that much.
Correct.
So I kind of can you expand on that a little bit about like what we've talked a little bit about, focusing on the face and all of those things and making those the focal points. But I don't know that that's something we've really touched on is how you make decisions about what to spend time on and what not to spend time on. Because it is a good point that, you can spend tons of time on every detail of the model. Mm-hmm. But for most people, especially ones who are just trying to get them on the table and look good, it's not really necessary and may not be worth the time. So how do you know what to spend time on and why? How do you make those decisions?
I think you find a part of the model that's interesting to you, and you focus on that. And like if it's the face, you think this face is really interesting and characterful, then spend a lot of time to make the face look really good. The face is always a good example because the face is always going to be a focal point of the model. It should, generally speaking, be the brightest point on the model. It should be the thing that draws you in, and then you want to like create lines where somebody's eye is going to follow. So if the face is your focal point, right, you're looking right here. The shoulder is another good example of a focal point. Like your eye goes here, goes down to the shoulder, and then it hits this knee, and then it follows down to the leg and the boot, and then it goes back up, and then you can follow these arms down to the hands, and then down this. Same thing with the wings. You can go from the face, this wing first, because it's going to have this nice highlight here that you're going to see if you're looking at it from specifically this angle, or if you're looking at this angle, this highlight right here. So the wings, because of the position that they're at, are less of a prominent part of this model. They are if you look at the back, because you can see, you look at the back of the model, all you see is wing, hair, and back.
So does that mean that when you paint up those wings that you'll spend a little more time on the back side, but maybe not so much on the front underside?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the underside is going to be a lot darker anyways, right? 'Cause
Sure.
it's going to be catching shadow.
Paracator09 says, "Yikes, that is a lot of stripes." Well, the thing is, if you get your widget, you don't have to paint those stripes. But I've recently been practicing some hazard stripes on some models I've been painting at home, and it's not as scary once you give it a few shots. But you don't feel intimidated.
Yeah.
Do it if you want to. Don't if you won't.
And I like my experience is that a little goes a long way as well. So
Yeah.
if you're painting up a model, want to add that little detail, do some hazard striping or some detailing, you don't have to do it everywhere on every panel, on everything, on every part, right?
Agreed.
Just one or two spots or wherever feels good. Just a little bit of visual interest.
And as long as you basically don't paint those pants flesh colored, like if people think those are just legs, like they see the model, they don't look at the concept art, and they're like, "This girl ain't got no pants on."
Yeah, it's
like,
got to be really obvious that they're pants.
What's that?
They have to be really obvious that they're pants.
Yeah, because otherwise, Widget's flying around,
With weird tattoos on her legs.
weird tattoos and just no pants, and ain't nobody need that in their life. Drakios Dragoon has a question for you, as you know a lot about paint theory here, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
The question is the following. What do you think of the triangle theory for painting miniatures, aka the idea of using the same color in 3 places, making a triangle on the model? I hear people for and against it.
I think, like, a lot of art is subjective, right? So some people may like that, some people may not. If you think it works well, typically a good example or a good place to look for examples in like color theory is nature, right? Like for example, I think it's called a triadic color scheme is something that you see a lot in nature, where you have the big color wheel, right? And you pick out a slice, like a kind of a wedge of that pie, and you use all those colors together for your scheme, and that's not triadic. What is it? What is it called?
If it's
Tony,
what I
please?
think it's a gamut.
Is it gamut?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
where you just
I don't
you
remember.
pick 3 points and then you just use all the colors within
Yes.
that triangle.
Correct. Triadic is three separate,
Mm-hmm.
the 3 opposite colors.
Triadica is a medicine I see ads for sometimes. I don't know what it does, but I do think it might cause some side effects.
But I mean,
It's good for your back.
I'm definitely not a super knowledgeable person when it comes to like really heavy theory. So I wouldn't really be able to tell you much about that specifically. But what I can tell you is that if it looks good, it's probably good.
Now, Drake asks, if we're kind of off on the gamut, because I'm wondering, are you talking about, choosing like red and then using red near the face and then red on 2 lower points on the model to try and create some visual interest? Or
I think that's what he's talking
okay,
about. Which I think is good because and I would almost change it to be less of like create a triangle and more of try to use colors that you have in other parts of the model. So like, for example, and what it does is it creates a lot of like atmospheric similarity between all of the different elements. So like if I'm shading the wings and I want to shade with like a brownish, very warm color, I'll use that warm color in all of the shades on the model because then it ties all of the elements together and it feels like the model is in the same, like it is in an environment that I'm choosing it to be in, if that makes sense.
yes,
So, and you can do the same thing with like glow. So kind of what we were talking about last week with Gorman, or the week before rather.
Yeah, week before. 'Cause last week was Conan.
Yes. Where you want to have elements, you want to tie the whole model together. So utilizing color everywhere just helps create that solid idea of environment, which is important for models.
This all sounds very fancy, but it sounds cool.
Well, one thing when I was first starting to learn to paint miniatures, one tip that was very helpful as a starting point, and then of course started ignoring later, but I still start out that way, is looking at a model. You're like, oh, I got all these features. I got these boots. I got these pants. I got these wings. I got this face, hair. And it's like this whole rainbow of colors going through your mind. But I find that if I just pick a couple of dominant colors I know are going to be what I want to focus on,
Hot
and then
pink.
build if hot pink's going on there,
Electric blue.
then you're building everything else out. But if you're
Neon
trying to
green.
do 800 colors and make everything unique,
it's a bit rough.
Things can get a little rough. So like if you're gonna have Widget here, and you know her pants are gonna be a feature, and probably her flesh is gonna be a big feature.
Yeah.
like those are gonna be your colors, and then you just kind of tone everything around that.
And I think the way I can relate to what both you're saying is, I sort of paint miniatures just the way I do. I'm definitely not nearly as skilled as like Jordan or that. I just kind of know how I like to do it. But things like these make sense. I've recently been building some model kits of a very popular robot. And the ones I've been building, they come in like basically 3 or 4 color tones on the little sprues that you unclip and then snap fit together. And like with just those 3 or 4 colors, you can create like a wide diversity that looks really, really good.
So real quick, this highlight color that I'm using on these pants, which I'm not sure if you guys can see or not, this is mixing underbelly blue into the denim, Gravedigger denim color.
Underbelly blue.
Underbelly blue.
Vic to Live joining us saying, just tuned in. Did I miss P3 Painters? No. Y'all have been doing P3 Painters near the end, usually, haven't you?
Yeah, just kind of whenever. I do have one P3 Painters today all set up that kind of is a good example of not using a lot of different colors, or at least a wide spectrum of the color wheel.
Okay. Hey,
which is
if you
very
want
exciting,
to do it, we can do that right now.
All right.
Man.
Well, let's get these stripes all
Yeah.
highlighted, and then we'll be at a good stopping point where we can
I think people are definitely interested.
take a look at those.
And then once you're at a good point, Jordan, to kind of stop and then hold the model a little closer to the camera and show it off and show what these stripes look like.
And now you're not highlighting every stripe all the way along.
No, I'm just picking like
Where light would hit, right?
Yeah, where light would hit. So like the top of the knee where this highlight on the yellow is already existing, I'm just highlighting there, and I'm highlighting a little bit down here at the bottom going up. And then kind of in this mid-thigh area where the light is catching. And then back here where the butt is. The boot.
We're for the boot.
The boot.
For some reason, when you were like somebody who's you were like, I have a P3 painter, somebody who's not used a lot of paints. My head's so messed up. I imagined a picture of just a box, like a box of Doom Reavers that someone has spray painted red. Like they're not assembled, they haven't been taken out, and you just pop it up, and you're like, how about that?
I'm glad that's where your expectations are at for when this photo comes up.
You pull up and you're like, how about that? And then you cut the stream. Like, Stripey Pants. This is also a really good technique for anybody who is interested in picking up Talion Charter. If you're going to be painting pirates, they've got a lot of stripes on their clothing.
Yes, they
At least
do.
if you go with the official studio scheme.
Oh, do I know a lot about Stripey Pants?
How does such a
on
rough
these
and
pirate
tumble
models?
group of pirates have such jaunty clothing?
Well, sometime, I mean, just realistically speaking, in the Iron Kingdoms, somewhere in between when they were fighting werewolves on trains and dragons carrying pigs riding gnomes and then ducking in trenches from when robots were shooting them, they managed to find clothing.
Nope, that's not going to work. I'm trying to... All right, Tony.
Them
I don't know how
having
to get
stripey
this.
pants is the most realistic thing in the setting, Tony.
All right, so yep, we got all these highlights done on these pants.
Hold on, let me run over to that camera and I'll do a
Okay.
quick zoom.
Tony. You can see him behind me. Oh, there he is. There he is.
So Tony's away from the mics and the computer right now, meaning I have full control.
Touch anything.
I'm not touching anything, Tony.
It's as close as we're gonna get.
Oh, okay. I can pull it closer.
Okay, here we go. Line it up.
It's not going to have the light, unfortunately.
Yeah, that one's a little hard to capture. It's such a fine detail.
Whoa, where'd it go?
She's flying away.
I'm just going to put it back here, and Tony can zoom it in as much as he can. But as you can see, right in here, just highlight there, the leg, and then the highlight here, and then on the butt. And like realistically speaking, like I haven't really done anything to all the rest of these lines, right? Like they're just kind of there. But these are the ones that really matter, or the ones where these highlights happen.
Because that's what people will see.
Because that's what you're going to see, right? So that's this kind of is the focal point right there.
I think your striped pants are looking fresh.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh tomatoes.
Well, no, fresh and clean.
Fresh and like fresh tomatoes.
Speaking of fresh,
Speaking of fresh,
let's look at some fresh P3 painter images. You like that segue? I've been working on them.
segue.
I've been practicing.
I love you so much, Tony.
Tony loves his segues. Just ride.
How many do we have today?
We got 4 today.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, we got some extras. So let's start with this one. It's a nice Supreme Guardian.
I like this like weird fleshy tone that's going on. Like I'm kind of into that. It's
Yeah,
kinda cool.
I think there were some work in progress photos from Tack Painting on this, and I believe, and I apologize, Tack Painting, if this is incorrect, but it was inspired by Hellboy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was getting a very comic book fantasy vibe with the fleshy tones on the face and the skin. Definitely reminds me of something I would see in Eternia. 5 out of 5.
Sure.
Prince Adams. I love it.
Is that how we're rating things now?
Yes. Well, that's
Prince
how,
Adams?
Yeah, I mean, you're the expert. I'm just a guest. How are you rating it, Jordan?
Rating what? Just,
Whatever. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Prince Adams.
I don't understand what you're doing.
Prince Adam is He-Man's alter ego.
Okay, we'll go with
He
that.
holds aloft the magic. Never. We can't get into it. Talk about this this wonderful model.
You've killed me. I like it. I like this a lot. I think the stone looks really nice. I like that Tack Painting has managed to like capture all the divots and the cracks in the armor or in the stone, and then like smoothed out the skin enough for it to look like skin.
Mm-hmm.
I like this a lot. I like the gold. The gold looks really good.
Yeah, I think it looks like the gold is not quite where he's done. This is a work in progress. I would like to point that out. He's posted it here that this is not quite finished, but I do love the flesh color. I love the stone, and what popped out to me about the stone is, especially you can see in the sword, that it's got different values. It's got edge highlighting and of course all of the crack details, but the actual blade, and like you can kind of see it on the skirt as well, is that it is not an even flat color. Like it goes light dark, like it's catching highlights and reflections, but it's very subtle and not too overt. So yeah, I think that looks really great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this when it's done.
Thanks, Tack Painting.
Thank you.
Very well done. And our next one from Mini Mangler.
It's a lot of blood.
That is a lot of
Very
blood.
bloody.
Wow, that is a lot of blood.
That's kind of why we chose this, was just for style choice.
Bloody. This is whoever fought this warmonger war chief is feeling some pain.
But the choice to use a snow base with blood effects is really, really good. I give this 5 mosquitoes out of 5. By the way, also a He-Man villain. Giant Mosquito Man came with fake blood inside of his chest. Mosquitor, real thing. Love it. 5 mosquitoes out of 5. Jordan's just mean mugging me over there. What do you think, Jordan?
I don't know what to think right now. My brain has been exploded by mosquitoes.
What is that the weapon in his hand custom? The one in the right hand.
It's at least been, if it's not a complete custom
changed.
weapon, it's at least been chopped.
Yeah.
Down. It looks like more of a wooden stake. Like he's kind of
Yeah, I like this.
ended
I like,
his victim with the end of it.
Usually, so there's like 2 ways that you can use blood effects, right? You can go
Well or
very
not?
subtle, or you can go over the top.
Yes.
There's not really a lot of in between that works, but you can work in either of the 2 levels.
Sure.
This is over the top. That works.
Yeah.
Well, because I agree with you 100%. And when we were looking at this, it was just like this one's got that's a lot of blood, but there's a story about that blood. It's not just like I stabbed a duel. It's like looks like he's got a heart or something in his hand. Yeah. He's like tracking blood on the ground. It's all over his shoulder. Like something happened.
Technically, my favorite part is the metallic shine coming through on the right arm. You see in the bottom left quadrant, the way that the metal is shining through the blood stains, I think is really well done. So, congrats.
Mini Mangler.
Good job,
That's
Mini Mangler.
Fun style.
5 out of 5 mosquitoes.
I'm going to go with web stores.
Okay.
Let's go to the next one.
Riker's
A little bit of Riker's Iron. I like this purple fire. I don't see purple fire very much. This purple fire looks nice.
And those are some great and daring color choices.
Yeah.
Like burnt orange yellow with dark fiery purple.
The fiery purple is a really scary fire color to do. I wouldn't do it. I hate doing purple glows because purple glows never look good. But
I mean,
this
that
looks good.
one does.
Yeah, this looks good.
It was very eye-catching as we were scrolling through. It was like it just pops out immediately.
What do you give it, Jordan?
I give it a 5 out of 5.
5 what's out of 5?
Purpley Hamiltons.
I'm going to give this 5 evil ends out of 5. Because it definitely has an evil end feel to me. This is amazing. And I also love how light it gets at the base of the fire, like the wings. It goes to that white with a little bit of purple in it. That's good stuff.
I agree.
All right, next one. This is the one I was talking about.
Yeah, Twitch chat just actually said, how many evil ends does she get before I said it? Man, Twitch chat, I love y'all. You know what's up.
All right, here we go. Boom. Look at that.
This thing is
Yamla
freaking
machine.
awesome.
We haven't shown this before, right?
Whoa.
I
think
so.
we've not shown this. I want to make sure because I think we talked about it at one point and then didn't. So I wanted to make sure that it got on.
Whoa.
This is a thing
But, yeah.
you don't see super often, which is using wire to do lightning, and it's really well done.
This is
really,
look at
really
that.
nice.
This is amazing. But this is so when we were talking about colors, this is what I want to point out. Like this is like basically a monochromatic model. Like the bird with some, there's a little bit of armor on the head and some variation, but basically values of purple. And then
blue.
For the light, well, not like I don't even think there's much blue there. I think all the blue is coming from the lightning strikes, but the bird itself is just primarily a giant purple bird. And so even the purple and the blue are kind of in the same family. So,
and with a bunch of really dark blues and purples, and then obviously lightning and energy, magical energy crackling off of it. This clearly gets 5 Skeletors out of 5.
I was gonna say I wanted to say 5 Cringers, but then I was like, but this is way too badass. It's got to be 5 Battle Cats.
Okay, so I just remembered what the name of that color scheme is. By the way, it's analogous.
Analogous. Is that's when they're
So
side by side?
When you pick 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Analogous.
Excellent.
This is phenomenal. That's the only way I can put it. It's phenomenal. Like I would expect to see this in a competition. This should be inside a display case in a competition at like an Adepticon or Lock and Load or Gen Con.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I want this in my case.
I want
This is
to
dope.
see you in a local con playing it. I want you to look away for a second, or maybe I will call you up to the judge table. I will then sneak to your game table, and I will steal this model from you, because I want it that much.
You know what I would absolutely love to see is a Kruger painted up with lightning tendrils like this. Would be super cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like
I think that would be
Like
super
going
duper
between his
cool.
hand and his staff
Yeah,
or something.
like just curling around his staff or whatever. Like, yeah, this is. I don't have a lot of words. It's awesome. Like,
well done.
yeah, and so one of the things that I really appreciate about this is that the highlights where the lightning tendrils hit the wings. Like that's such a beautiful gradient of blue that like and it's so different from the wing that it stands out really well. Awesome.
And we're getting from Twitch chat that this was apparently done for a friend. It isn't even for their own personal army. They did it possibly as a commission or as a friend. So it's either an amazing gift,
Man, how do I become
or
that
I hope
person's
they got
friend?
paid
Yeah.
really well.
I want to be that. I want to be that person's friend. Let's be friends.
Let's be friends.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you
sending
for
in
your
your
submissions.
your P3 hashtags. If you're painting up some models, post them. Hashtag P3 painters. We'll take a look.
We'll talk about them.
Maybe we'll talk about them on stream.
We will rate them.
All right. So now that we got the big ticket item out of the way, these pants, I'm just gonna paint whatever.
And now back to pants.
Now back to pants. Gotta paint the pants. Now got to paint the pants. Well, the pants are done. So I'm just going with some Battlefield brand. I'm gonna paint these boots. Battlefield brand.
What? How are you doing the wings? Are you just gonna go metallic, or are you gonna go?
I think I'm gonna go with like cloth wings.
I was gonna say when I paint my widget, I want to do wooden wings. Like I want as many parts of those wings as possible. I know
Yeah,
parts
like
of it
the
are,
spokes would be all wooden.
yeah. I want as many parts of it as possible to look like bits of timber and stuff that she's like whittled and made into wings. Because
I mean, do we just want to do that real quick?
it's your call. I mean, this is your widget. Don't let me tell you how to live your life.
It's pretty similar. Like I could do like the wooden bits and then do cloth wings outside of that. It'd be kinda
If you
cool.
think it'll work with your color scheme,
Yeah, I'm done with that. It would tie it in with the boots, so I'm gonna go do it. And then
and
this way,
this is how ideas
Hunger-
happen.
We can talk about Hungerford, and teach Hungerford how to do this.
I already know. But I think our viewers would
Whoa.
love to know.
Oh, Hungerford, laying down the law.
I'm sassy.
Man's already knowing what he's doing.
Have a plan and execute it. If there's two things I have, it's plans and confidence. I am full of those. So you start with Battlefield Brown?
Yeah,
I like that
Battlefield Brown.
Alec M. Luda wants to know what color you're doing for the wrench. Are you sticking with the bright red?
I don't know. Probably. I think having a nice like bright pop of color works really well there.
Striker 911 would like to know, how many pieces is this model?
3, 4. The wings are separate. Her torso and right leg are one. This other leg down here is a separate piece, and then the wrench and arms are a separate piece.
So pretty easy to get together.
Oh yeah. This is not difficult at all.
And we have heard a lot of praise from the community of people building both, just about Riot Quest in general. First off, people playing the game are loving it.
Mm-hmm.
People building the miniatures are talking about how these are some of their favorite metal miniatures to put together. They're keyed really well. They're engineers. So props to our engineers and all the people that do the stuff that I couldn't even speak to. I don't understand how it works.
Right.
But they've made these models really simple to put together. And then prop to the sculptors and for making fun models to paint.
Everybody does a great job around here.
I really enjoyed painting all the Riot Quest Studio models.
Dude,
They're really
Bamfist
fun.
is so much fun to paint.
Oh, I love Bamfist. I had so much fun painting Bamfist.
And I knocked my James out like in a night.
Oh yeah, James is super fast.
Yeah.
I did. I painted up a bunch of those for demo models, and
I did
real quick.
I did her with like ceramic white armor and a radioactive glow coming from inside,
Nice.
and then I weathered all the ceramic, so it looks like she's like an old I wanted to go with old like Gamma World style. This is a robot that got turned on post-apocalypse and it's run by nuclear power, but it's been laying in the dirt. So she's got that look to her.
Nice. You got to bring in photos.
I posted them on
or
my
just bring it in.
yeah. I posted photos. I'll bring her in.
Crate 98. Any spoilers on the Void Archon? Well, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to go back to it for just a second.
go for
But we
it.
had our
Show
little
it off.
standby screen, brand new today. So we got a picture of Jordan painting up the Void Archon. So that's
may
a
or may not
visual
have been
spoiler for
working
you.
on it.
Bum bum bum. Look at it. And in the back, dude, that boy is chunky.
He is
so
big.
Y'all didn't even understand how big that model is. White Dijon is huge.
Yeah.
And that is in the background. And when I say in the background, I don't mean like that is way in the background and it is still that size on your camera. Dude, I kind of feel like, is he downstairs?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want him to show how big he is? Or no?
White Dijon or
White
or
Dijon.
Void Archon?
Either, since we're talking about him.
I mean, we can do both. You want to go grab them?
How do you feel about that, Tony? We got enough time?
We got a few minutes. Well, let's see. Chat, let us know if you want to see the Void Archon or
Void Archon on stream, please.
White Dijon.
Yeah, and I will run downstairs and grab them and bring them up. We can just show them on camera.
Okay.
Because
Where's me?
the chat seems excited. If one person says no, we're not going to do it.
Okay.
One person says no in chat, we won't do it.
Just
We're gonna give it 30 seconds to see if anybody says the word no.
That's a lot of yeses.
I know it's a lot of yeses.
But
We're gonna see.
looking. I don't see any yeses because I'm so focused on no's.
I'm waiting. We got about 20 seconds left to see if someone says no, and then we won't do it. Okay, no, we got close. Somebody said nobody say anything, but that's not the word no yet. We got a lot of yeses.
That's like a verbal version of pushing someone off a cliff, but then grabbing their shirt at the last second, yanking them back.
All right, we got it. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
go
we're gonna get it. I'll be back.
All right, Jordan, you keep painting.
I'll keep painting. I'll just keep painting. Just keep painting. Making fun of Hungerford while he's gone. That's just my
Striker
favorite thing.
said it. You're too late. See, now people are saying it because they know he already left,
Yeah.
and then it's happening.
It's. I love how people are super excited about this.
So what are you painting up, or what are you mixing up right now?
Adding a little bit of murderous magenta to the skin tone because I realized that I did a bad job mixing the skin tone earlier. So we're gonna try this again.
Are you just kind of putting in a new base coat?
Yeah, I'm gonna put in a new base coat because
Okay.
I don't really care for the previous one. So I think it was far too white. This just needs a little bit more color to it. Like, definitely want her to have pale skin tone, but it's gotta have more color than that.
And what was the recipe for the skin again?
It was Colonel Pink, Ember Orange, and now a little bit of Murderous Magenta.
He's so chunky.
Okay, hold off. Let's finish doing this. So we have them
I'm back.
in the room now.
Yeah, they're in the room.
Chunky boy. All right. You want to hand me the chunky boy?
Oh, hold on a sec.
What? Wait, which one do you want?
Chunky boy.
You want Chunky Boy?
Chunky boy.
Okay.
Let's start with chunky boy. I think people are super excited for Void Archon, so we're gonna.
I should be super excited for White Dijon as well. Look at this thing. All right, so I think Widget's a good. I guess you can have both in the image, right? That won't work.
Yeah, we'll just do. Oh yeah, he's gonna have to adjust it for this because he is a big chunky boy.
Yeah, pull that camera back. Now,
Hold up Widget
For size comparison, sure. 1 second. Get this. Burp. Burp. Okay, so Widget is that size. This is a big old chunky boy.
I love that size comparison right there.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
White Dijon is freaking huge. And I can't wait to paint this model because I like painting fur. I think it's really fun and always get to. It's easy.
Oh, all them apes got that bootay.
What?
All of them.
Why did we go there?
It's true. It's true. You got a cute little belly. Too.
So Gecko in a suit says Widget is regular Warmahor's scale right. Yeah, she is a young woman is her scale. Obviously, she's high up in the air. She's got these big wings. She's got a wrench. So like when you think about her, she stands about as tall as a man of war. To be honest with you, from the bottom of the wrench to the top of her head. Obviously, not as thick with 3 C's. But speaking of thick with 3 C's, White Dijon, man, that boy.
The big old boy.
30 millimeter base for Widget, yes, and then monster base, the 60 mil square for White Dijon. So, how about we take off White Dijon, and why don't we pull up? And you are in the process of painting the Void Archon right now, so
the Void Archon and White Dijon are still.
They're both work in progress.
Yeah,
These are the studio models we're showing off.
They are the studio models.
Okay,
yeah.
so now
And this
not
his favorite.
not chunky. We got to back the camera up more because of how big this thing
It's
is.
a lot taller.
And I think Widget size comparison. I know. Look at that blend that you're working on right now. It is ridiculous. Look at Widget. She's like, I can fly too. Hey, Weird Angel, you sure are huge.
Looks like George and Lenny.
Yeah. Your blend you were doing on the swirl at the bottom is, I know you're still working on it, but can I just say that at the moment it is insane?
The purple.
Yes.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I was worried about that purple, and it worked out good. It's tough. Tough to get that purple to look right.
Stream is saying that your blend is godlike. They're quite happy with it.
It's glazes, folks. Lots of glazes.
Vic to Live would like to know, and it sounds like a lot of people would. What is the recipe for the purple? What did you use?
It's beaten purple with small amounts and increasing more amounts of murderous magenta over a white base coat.
It just repeated blends over and over and over again.
So actually, the base coat was like a really. So I base coated it and airbrushed it white, so solid white all the way down, and then I mixed into an airbrush piggy purple ink, murderous magenta, and a dot of beaten purple, or some combination thereof. And it like the piggy purple ink, when you water it down a bunch, has this like really nice, beautiful purple tone to it. And something that you don't really notice so much because it's such a saturated paint, or such a saturated ink. But when you water it down a ton, you get this really beautiful purple color. And adding a little bit of that murderous magenta pulls out a little bit more of that saturation. Assembly on this is actually super duper easy. It's 5 pieces.
Gecko in suit saying assembly on this is gonna be hell. No, this thing goes together like butter.
Yeah, it's 5 pieces. It's the torso and the swirl are all one thing. The 2 wings are separate, and then the 2 arms are separate.
Clay Baytel on Facebook would like you to put White Dijon up next to the Void Archon if we can get both of them in one frame. So, 2 absolutely massive models. And they're both coming out soon.
Very soon. Very, very, very soon. Yeah, give this
Cool.
guy a full twirl again. Center him back up. But yeah, these are some exciting new models for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so these are both, or this guy's on a 50 mil base. So.
Crate wants to know what the Void Archon does. Well, don't you worry. When the model releases, the rules will go up in
Find
War
out.
Room.
I will put Widget back.
Back to Widget. And now back to your regularly scheduled program,
Which is now over.
which has now ended.
Thank you guys for tuning in this Thursday morning. Not quite afternoon yet. I will see you guys next week. And hopefully you tune in to the 4-way Riot Quest Scramble tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow at 10.
Yeah,
Damn.
have fun with it, guys. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Adios.
Thanks for
tuning in.
watching.
Bye.
Paint stuff, get paid.
Paint stuff, get paid.
Yeah. Hashtag. She looks so small now. Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.